Hello everyone, my name is Valeria and in this channel I talk about spirituality and esoterics. So, today I wanna talk about Lyra, about the attacks and wars that have happened on Lyra. Lyran beings are our most ancient ancestors, the founders of this 12-dimensional world. They are really sovereign beings, but they have not been apart from distortions and wars. So I wanna talk about their galactic history. I will focus in Lyrans that were on dimensions 10, 11, and 12, and also beings from Vega, okay? So, we usually hear about attacks from Dracos to Lyrans, but it goes beyond that because it, it has been mostly that fallen Lyrans and Dracos attacked other Lyrans, like the attack to Aramatena, for example. So, how Dracos started to be related with these Lyrans, besides the fact that Draco is relatively close to Lyra. So, we need to first understand that we have this golden order of seraphims, and they were guarding these fallen draconian beings that were in rehabilitation, and then these beings from 10 dimension from Vega star, they became regressive, and they became draconian seraphim fallen beings. Okay, they kind of blend together. Okay, and they are creators of the Draco beings, these beings that we know as Dracos, okay, and another fallen beings that are mostly on Orion and Draco, okay, and this Dracon group, okay, these Dracon Seraphim fallen beings, they have created the most genetic distortion on our DNA. So these beings, they created Draco beings that we know as Draco, that are hybrids of humans and Dracon, okay? And these Dracos are the reptilian race that we know about, okay? So, in order for us to really understand the history of Lyra, we need to consider that first of all, there were Elohim beings that were in Aramatena on the 12th dimension. They are the Emerald Order, and then 250 billion of years ago, this Lyran wars started. Okay? Then we also need to know that we have this golden order, and these beings were seraphims from Vega, and it's not like all beings from Vega were negative, but a part of these beings from the 10 density, they started to be regressive and started to want to conquer other spaces. They were fallen seraphims, and they are the forefathers of Anunnakis, okay? Then we have beings from Aveyon they were aquatic felines called anew, and they started to be regressive, and they asked Elohim to destroy this fallen seraphim from the golden order from Vega in the 10th dimension. Okay, so here the Elohim beings, they said no. Okay, they said no to destruction, and they chose to rehab these fallen seraphim beings. So then the other beings from Lyra, the Aveyon beings that were in the 11th dimension, they attacked and destroyed Aramatena that was in the 12th dimension. Okay? And this is something really important in galactic history. This is like the point. This was like the very first fall, okay? So at this point, all beings, including founder beings, all beings were trapped in this world until this Aramatena, that was also a Stargate, was repaired. Okay? So at that point, this world of 12 dimensions was almost destroyed because of the wars in Lyra, in this 4th density 12th dimension. So there were always these conflicts between seraphims on Vega and these Aveyon beings that were actually a hybrid between Anunnakis and Elohim. Okay? So, when this Stargate was destroyed 250 billion of years ago, the Emerald Order started to really guard this world, like all the Stargates in this world, and this is why we actually now have lots of councils, of beings, of collectives that are mainly guarding different points, different Stargates, okay? So, for a summary, this wars ended 570 million of years ago. It was also with a big war between Seraphims and Dracos that were against these Anunnaki Elohim beings, okay? And they almost destroyed this world. And this is usually known as these draconian Lyran wars, but truth is that these wars have been happening for a long time before. At this point, these Seraphim draconian beings, they were already living in the Draco constellation. And when these Dracos attacked Lyra, lots of Lyrans migrated to other places as refugees like Andromeda, Pleiades, Procyon, Cassiopeia, Cygnus, and at the same time beings from Vega, they migrated mostly to Sirius and Orion. Okay? So at this point, these wars ended and they all made these surrender agreements about bioregenesis, that it has to do with DNA and genetics, because when these beings, when they disconnect themselves from the Christian streams, they can opt for agreements, for re-evolution, and sometimes they start to rearrange their DNA that is mutated at that point. So these targets were repaired then, okay? So this is important to know that there are 3 stargates on Lyra that were the most important in this world because they were a passage, the passage between this 12-dimensional world and the fields of light and sound that are beyond this matrix. So this was a key point. And wars were for these stargates, especially Aramatena stargate at dimension 12. Now, ascension is going to happen in a different way using different stargates, okay? Besides that, in these last wars, this ambition of Draco's made them want the other planets that were on the Lyran nebula, which is said to be this interdimensional stargate. But for me, there were more planets there that were destroyed by the Draco beings, and now these planets are this nebula, basically, okay? And which is really important to understand is that these beings, these Draco beings, they really want access to these portals because they really enjoy playing with timelines. They really enjoy to delete timelines and to change timelines. So that's why these galactic wars, they usually are about different points, different portals, different stargates, because you can really have some access to manipulate different timelines. And yes, these beings, they delete timelines so then people on Earth can't really remember. I mean, there's a lot that we don't remember. I mean, there's so much more than Lemuria and Atlantis, okay? So yes, this is today's video. I really hope you enjoyed this video about Lyrans. Please remember to subscribe to this channel if you enjoy this content, and thank you so much for being here today.